So I think one of the biggest, I find, miscommunications between both sides in the black community. You have, Hotep, for lack of a better word, because everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Right.
And high stepping, which is, the talented 10th. And do you think it's possible to bring, if we brought those two together, that we could then be making some change? Because the high steppers, the talented 10th, they have a seat at the table. However, they got there, sat down and closed the door. And we're not holding them accountable.
Right. Well, the thing is, the so-called talented 10th, these are the people who are used to really pacify the rest of the black masses. Usually the so-called talented 10th, these are the people that are like the mayors and the city council people,
right,
that's propped up, and they have to do the bidding of the dominant white society, or they will, they can get rid of them very quickly.
Sum total. I mean, really, do you think there aren't any that are in there doing the good work? If so, who do you think is in there doing the good work?
If we haven't brought them to the table. See, that's the thing. A lot of these people are brought to us and told, okay, these are your leaders. So whenever we have a situation like that, these people are going to be beholden to the dominant white society. When we raise people up and say, this is our guy, like we did Dr. King. Dr. King was our guy.
Right.
Malcolm X was our guy.
Right.
So we still revel in these people's glory. But all these other, Barack Obama was brought to us by the dominant white society. Yes, he was. Don't you roll your eyes, Jill. Barack Obama was brought to black society. Nobody knew who Barack Obama was until 2004 at that convention. He popped out of nowhere, but they were cultivating him for years. So a lot of people are brought to us, and when
I'm gonna sit right there, Tariq.
I'll give you another great example. Up there in New York is a brother named, I can't think of it. He was the prosecutor up there in New York. And when this Asian cop shot this brother, Kai Gurley, the brother, he died too, the black prosecutor, they brought him to us. Yeah, I can't think of his name for nothing, but they brought him to us. And when the Asian officer was found guilty of killing a guy Gurley, this black prosecutor, who was being controlled by Asian white dollars, went out and said, we're not going to give him no jail time. And black people were appalled because we didn't put our money onto this guy. We didn't use our own money to control him. See, this is why it's important for us to control the resources so we can control the politicians. All of it goes hand in hand. When we control the politicians, we can control the police force. We control the police force, we can control our community so we're not being shot down like that. It goes back to ownership. That's why Asians, you don't see them getting shot down like that, because they are all about ownership.
Yeah, well, you made a point somewhere about how they don't vote.
Asians don't vote for nothing.
And their money stays in their community 30 days before it leaves out too.
Absolutely.
So there are a lot of things that we could learn, because the first thing they do is come over here and get a business. There are a lot of things that we Yes, Kelly.
I raised my hand because I'm a good student.
Yes, Brother Kelly.
Just in regards to politics.
Yeah.
What about those black folks who are getting into politics? Like, for instance, in my predominantly black city.
Yeah.
Lauderhill, where we have a lot of black politicians that are coming in. I'm actually thinking about running it in 2020 myself.
Yeah.
So, are you saying that unless you're somebody like me who was kind of independent and not under somebody's financial thumb, these people that are coming in, are they?
If you're from the community, that's different, because you're from the community, so you know the needs and the wants of the people.
Right.
A lot of times people are just brought in literally out of nowhere, and they're like, okay, this is the black leader. He's going to tell you what to do. You follow him.
Right, but at the same time, you have people that are, you could just as well, you come up and, you go sit at enough tables and get enough checks, then you become part of the problem too. That is, you got both of those working.
Oh yeah. That's why we got to have a code. We got to have a code to be.
So what is this code?
The code is, we're not going to. The code is basically don't sabotage black society for butter biscuits, for extra crumbs off the table.
There you go.
Don't sell out for crumbs. Just don't do that. It's that simple.
But
I'm seeing a word. Phenomenon.
I always say it as a reminder to me that even though I'm on the radio and I'm answering questions that people are asking me, Well, when they ask questions, I am also in the process of learning because I probably have never thought of the question that's being asked.
Mm-hmm.
And so we should always be in the process of learning. That's the way I look at it. I mean, there's no such thing as being out of school. I don't know very much about what is called a boule. I've heard people talk about it for years, and I've never heard a concise description of what it is and what it consists of and what it does and what the objectives are, because anything that exists has a purpose. So what would be the purpose of something called the boule?
Mm-hmm.
So what has been implied to me down through the years is that they are a group of black people who have been selected, presumably by the white supremacists, to stymie black people in their progress. In other words, to lead them in a direction that they're not supposed to be going in, and to keep them confused about what they're supposed to be doing and how, and that they're paid a lot of money to do so. And that's what has been implied. It hasn't been said explicitly like I'm saying it, but that's what I understand it to be. And what my response to that is, well, whatever the white supremacists are doing, it's the white supremacists. So therefore, it's, anything in between that really doesn't matter. And I always use a prison analogy or comparison. In a prison, and the white supremacist system is a prison system, the warden of the prison can assign anybody to do anything. Why? Because the warden has absolute power. So if you're talking about the boule being in sort of a trustee position, if you make the prison comparison, then that would be a normal condition, and nothing to get really excited about, or even to try to probe into, or to wonder about, because that goes with the territory. When you are the master of a plantation, you can assign any slave to do whatever you want done. Mm-hmm. You just come down and pick out anybody. I mean, Amos and Willie and Mary and Sue or whomever your slaves are, and say, come with me. I got an assignment for you. I got some other black people up here that just came in, and I want you to come up here and whip them. And if you don't whip them, I'm going to whip you. Yes. Or I'll reward you. Take your pick. But this is the way you can do when you run a prison. And the system of white supremacy is a world prison. That's a simple way of, I think, explicit way of putting it.
Okay.
So don't worry about the boule, whatever it is.
Oh, you poor sucker!
Today it's time to stop singing and start swinging.
We're coming to get our check.
You are now listening to P.A.R. That's People Activity Radio. And I'm your host, JohnGHorse. Welcome. You have found your family in a peaceful place. P.A.R. is a family-friendly information distribution program seeking to inform non-white people, in particular, black classifieds, and assisting in counter-racist codification. The title of today's episode is Codified Interpretation versus Perpetual Confusion, Episode 7, Prison Propaganda Program, Divide, Neutralize, and Dominate. White Magic 101. And I'm going to repeat the title of today's episode, and the title is Codified Interpretation versus Perpetual Confusion, Episode 7, Prison Propaganda Program, Divide, Neutralize, and Dominate. White Magic 101. Let's get it in. Yeah. I'm gonna let the brown liquor blues legend Johnny Taylor talk to you for a little bit before we get to the